Boa noite, galera do Heavy Culture.
Slow down.
Uou!
Essa é homenagem ao Doom Metal hoje. A gente entramos numa vibe mais lenta. Galera, hoje, terça-feira, com uma das grandes lendas do metal americano, Nest Savage, David Austin. Satã apareceu na nossa live. David Austin, Nest Savage. Welcome, David.
Glad to be here. Glad you guys, and thanks for, first of all, thanks for the invitation, Jay. Thanks for reaching out to me, and I'm happy to be here. You know, anything to help you guys out, and you guys are helping me out some too. So we all work together, right?
Miguel, bem-vindo.
Boa noite. Mais uma semana que está a decorrer. Difícil. Mas vai-se fazendo. Não é? Vocês aí no Brasil também estão bastante ocupados, por aquilo que percebo.
Bastante. Hoje um pouco mais atrasado, mas vamos embora.
Vamos a isso.
Miguel, e hoje esse delay está marcado, cara. Hoje a gente vai realizar um sorteio Mosh Metal Cast. Avisa o David. Nest Savage.
Eu ia te perguntar relativamente a esse passatempo. Vamos dar a oportunidade a várias pessoas para poderem conseguir o respectivo ingresso para o espetáculo que está marcado para o ano. Aí no Brasil. Diz a cidade que é já agora?
Oi?
Em que cidade é?
São Paulo.
Okay. So, David, now we speak English.
Okay.
We were talking about the ticket that we will be offering for your show when in São Paulo playing with Venom Inc.
Right.
Who else? George left. Is the ticket master. But anyway, we will give the ticket to someone that will do something, George. What does the person ask to do to win the contest?
Oh,
so that's George.
This is the first I've heard about any kind of a contest. So that would be something that Andrei Smirnov, who's putting on the event, that's something that you would have to. Which I love Andrei. Yeah, he's a great guy. He actually did the show that we did in Sao Paulo and Rio way back in 1988. So I don't know a contest for tickets. I'm not sure of. You know, I don't know about that.
We are getting some delays with the questions, but we will handle it. And people will have to understand also.
It's okay.
Ok, Jorge, como é que vai ser feito o passatempo? Tens que ligar o microfone.
Eu tô com dificuldade de ouvir muito eco. Será que eu não tenho o microfone?
Desculpa.
Será que se usar o microfone não resolve?
Eu acho que não, porque eu ouço bem no delay, ou seja, ouço-me bem depois. Se fosse um problema de microfone, não aconteceria isso. Ou seja, o delay está relacionado precisamente com o facto de estarmos a fazer o triângulo, Portugal, Brasil, Estados Unidos, e é normal que isso possa acontecer de vez em quando.
Ok.
Estamos já trabalhando nestas condições. Nós temos que nos abster um bocado daquilo que estamos a ouvir do outro lado, enquanto falamos. Depois, quando estamos a ouvir alguém, vamos prestar alguma atenção, ok? Jorge, a pergunta é, porque isto é todo interesse para o Brasil, como é que vai ser sorteado o bilhete?
Seguinte, a gente vai colocar aqui uma... Eu não vou falar, vai deixar surpresa pro final.
É?
Surpresa.
Muito bem. Isto quer dizer que se quiserem ganhar o bilhete, ou o ingresso, como se diz no Brasil, vão ter que ficar até ao final da live, porque aí o Jorge vai abrir a cortina. Okay? So, David, sorry, we were talking about the ticket contest, and now we speak about Nasty Savage. We are getting crazy to get a new album. What are you guys doing?
Okay, right now we're working on a 5-song EP, which we have 3 songs written so far, 2 more to go, and then we have interest from Relapse Records and others, and we're concentrating on getting those 5 songs complete. It's not something that we're going to rush. We want all 5 of these songs to be great songs, every one of them. So it's the material that we're working on now is kind of it has some of the brutality from Indulgence, and it has some of the melodicness from Abstract Reality, and it has a little bit of the complexity with Penetration Point. So we're trying to kind of bring all those elements of Nasty Savage together in one EP, and everything is going very well right now. It's it takes a little bit more time because people work, they have families, so we try to get this together as quickly as we can, but we also don't want to rush it either. So before we go on, for those who don't know, okay, our drummer, Jim Coker, who was in Brutality for a while, so a lot of people know him. Scott Carina, our bass player, he played in a local band in Tampa called Fester way back in the 80s, and he also played on the Death album Inhuman and also toured with Death on that record. So, and our other guitar player, Pete Sykes, he played in Contorted and he played in Brutality as well. And then then of course me and Ronnie, Nasty Ronnie are the 2 original members left in the band. But so that's where we're at right now. We're creating new music. We're excited about it. When a release date, or we have to work out a deal with somebody, and then after that we continue. Then we'll get in the studio and start recording some of these tracks, and then we'll take it from there. But that's where we're at right now. Probably we have songs called Aztec Elegance, The Jeopardy Room, Schizoid Platform, Operation Annihilate, The Sixth Finger, which is going to be an instrumental. We're going to do one instrumental on this. That's going to be one of those really progressive, style of Nasty Savage songs that you've heard in the past. So we're excited about it.
Man, sold. One thing. To join all those albums together and one EP with those sounds, that must be hard.
It is.
Also joining guys from Death Metal Band with Nasty Savage, that must be really fun. I'm also a death metal fan, so I'm a thrash metal fan, so that will be fun for sure. And question, with these times, are you guys rehearsing together or doing everything each one in?
No, we rehearse together. We rehearse together. So yeah, there's not, I may, be in my own space writing new songs, but we all get together once a week, and spend hours together, working on, because these songs that we're doing, even though you have, let's just say that you have a basic rhythm track for a song, you know, then I start adding a lot of harmonies and stuff like that, which is going to make it, you know, where it's going to sound like Nasty Savage, you know. So, you know, a lot of those melodic harmonies and a lot of, none of it's going to be, there's not going to be any death metal on here. I mean, the heaviest thing that we're going to do on here would be something along the lines of maybe Stabbed in the Back from Indulgence, you know, something along the lines of that. But, you know, I mean, if there's not going to be death metal on here because we have guys from a death metal band, it's going to sound like Nasty Savage. So, whoever listens to this for the first time is going to recognize instantly that it's Nasty Savage. So
that
if anybody's concerned about that, we're not changing our style. It's it's going to be Nasty Savage.
So you mentioned that you are bringing everything together for a new EP that you guys are writing. A question that I have to you: where do you go to get all those ideas to do so many riffs after riffs? It's crazy.
Well, it's been, we haven't released anything since 2004. So I've had a lot of ideas, in that time period, over the last 16 years. It's just a matter of when can I actually sit and just think about this stuff and, and try to come up with great arrangements, great harmonies, heaviness, a little bit of melodic stuff. So it's, these ideas have been in my head for a long time, but, and some of them are brand new when you're just riding down the road in the car. I hear something and I'll actually hum it into my phone so I don't forget it when I get home, and then transpose it on the guitar and take it from there and, and form an idea. And then, just the same way that I've always done it. That's the same way that Ben Meyer used to do it when he was in the band. He would come up with ideas, I would come up with ideas, and then we would join together. And, he would say, oh, I don't know if I like that. I would say the same thing about his, and we'd end up working together and, and create a song. So it's not rocket science. It's just, that's the way that I've always done it. That's the way that I'm going to continue to do it. So everything is coming along.
Let me tell you that, in fact, is rocket science. Nasty Savage is rocket science.
Yeah, Penetration Point is rocket science. Yeah, that was quite a technical record. So we're not, now we have one song on here that when you listen to it, you'd say that could sound like that it was something off of Penetration Point, just because of the abstract timing and a lot of guitar changes and a lot of timing changes and all that kind of stuff, which is basically typical Nasty Savage.
You said something about humming to your phone to a melody, not to forget. This means that perhaps you guys record your rehearsals together. Do you have any recordings like nobody does?
Oh yeah, we have. We've actually went into a friend of mine's studio and recorded an entire song. We're not ready to, give it to the public yet. So we record some of these at the rehearsal studio, not a professional recording, but enough to where we can bring it home and add to it, add new ideas, and maybe make some changes with the arrangement or the length of certain parts, or actually create an entire new part to add to the song to blend in with the rest of it. So.
Okay. I will go to Brazil and look at the guys to see if they have questions from that site. Mike. Microfone.
Oh yeah.
Sugestão. Jorge, tira fone. Ajuda muito.
Hã?
Não, mas tá bom, tô ouvindo.
Não, mas tá bom, tô ouvindo.
O Mike Browning.
O Mike Browning
Teve com a gente um tempo atrás
aí.
E a gente perguntou
pra ele
a
referência
de metal,
o início do metal lá na Flórida, né?
E ele citou Ness Kelly.
Como é que ele se sente aí influenciando tanta banda que ficou bastante aí conhecida, né? Foi bem interessante essa entrevista do Mike Brown, né?
Foi. Eu ia falar isso. Ele citou ele nas séries como um dos pioneiros do death metal.
So,
Exatamente, foi esse termo.
The guys from Brazil are recording reminding the interview we had with Mike Browning from Nocturnal AD.
Oh yeah.
And he referred that Nasty Savage was one of the major bands that influenced him to get into metal and he underlined the major importance that you guys still have today. How do you feel of a guy like Mike Browning saying that about you guys?
Oh yeah, it's nice. I mean, there's a lot of these guys. Mike Brown, which by the way, the new Nocturnus AD, the Paradox. Fantastic. That's a great album. I've listened to that probably 15 times already. I love that album. But I've known all those guys and Obituary and Morbid Angel and all these, Brutality and all those guys for so long. A lot of those guys like Mike Browning and Trevor Perez and John Tardy and Donald Tardy and all those guys, Terry Butler. A lot of those guys, when we were playing in 1985, they were 16 years old right there in the front row watching us, so I think some of them we might have influenced a little bit musically, but most of it was just them wanting to be in a band too, so that was more of the influence that we had on them was more of like a physical presence. And what we were able to do and able to get signed to Metal Blade, early on, and our demo was, very, very popular in the underground, So for them to see all that, it made them, it energized them to where they wanted to be in a band and they wanted to get signed and create their own music and everything. So, and all those guys I still hang out with today. I went to the last 3 Obituary live streams. I went to 3 different parties and met up with those guys afterwards, and we all hung out and had a good time, So we're all tight, always. We're metal blood brothers, And so it's nice to hear those guys say those things about me and and the rest of the band and everything. How we created some kind of an influence in the Tampa area and everything. I'm proud of it, It's good to see that they've gone on to do things, surpassed us because we stopped for a long time. But as long as I can have fun creating this new stuff and go back to Sao Paulo and go to, I think the other shows in Joinville, and, I hope that happens, because of the pandemic, So we're hoping all that's going to be okay by the time the end of May rolls around and we get to see a lot of these people that we haven't seen in a long time. And we're going to get up there and we're going to kick fucking ass. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So.
And have you ever, as a band, jammed with some of those bands that you mentioned? Just going for the rehearsal and suddenly you are all playing.
Oh yeah, I mean the only people that I played together with was probably I did a charity thing with are you familiar with Chris Jericho, the wrestler?
Sorry, no.
But it's okay. He's big time. So anyway, we did a charity thing together which featured Greg Gall from 6 Feet Under, Terry Butler, of course, you know who Terry Butler is, Obituary Death, 6 Feet Under, and several others where we re-recorded a couple of Nasty Savage songs, and I think me and a couple other guys redid some like Scorpion songs from the 70s and UFO and stuff like that. Something that we just had fun with, and it was all for charity. But that's really as far as like jamming with those guys. No, because everybody does their own thing. So we haven't really got together and try to create anything together. If that's what you're asking.
Okay, you said something about wrestling and doing charity. But when you say wrestling, I remember Ronnie like that. Do you guys on your rehearsals have some TVs around?
Actually, we have a couple of TVs in our practice, in our rehearsal space right now. But see, we would like to do one of those live streams, but Ronnie can't really put on his full show if we do something, like something like a virtual show online. It would be okay, but Ronnie really likes to engage with the crowd, and he likes to get bloody and likes to break things, and he wants to get the crowd, to be part of the show. So it's kind of different, to be able to translate that to a live stream show, if you know what I mean. So we're just gonna wait it out, and you'll see when we go down to Brazil and and do these shows that Ronnie's quite the spectacle on stage, So he makes it fun. It's it's not boring, We're even though we are older, I still get up there and like to I get off, I get into it. I just don't stand there like a statue and play. So we're still having fun.
What was the craziest thing that you ever see from Ronnie, while playing? And someone like playing what? He did that?
Probably a couple of things come to mind, and one was a show that we did in LA back in probably '88, where he was cut up so bad. I mean, he was covered in blood. You still there?
Yep.
Still there?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. All right. So he was so covered in blood, the people that worked at the venue were ready to call an ambulance because they were worried that he was, I mean, I've never seen so much blood on a human being in my life. He just walked right past everybody and like, I'm okay, no big deal. So, and another one was when we played at the World War III Fest with Celtic Frost and Possessed and Destruction and Voivod, that show we did back in '85. When we got done with that show, so you have Tom Warrior picking glass out of Nasty Ronnie's back.
Oh.
Because he was so bruised up and cut up. And then there was another show that we did. It was the Bang Your Head Fest when we got back together in '98, where Ronnie had just a pyramid, probably 9 TVs, shaped, stacked up like a pyramid, and and got in this position like this, and just went from one side of the stage to the other, and just ran right through them. I was like, oh my God, this guy's not gonna live, but just I've seen so much of that, I'm just almost used to it because I've seen him do that so many times. So for me, it's not that, there's a couple of shocking moments that I've had, but for me, I've seen it, 300 times. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's impossible not to react, being in the crowd and seeing that, of course, that we will be active and aggressive with the mosh pit or whatever,
right?
Or going to stage and do some stage diving, because that's it. That's how we feel. And have you ever shared a stage with a band with someone crazy like you guys?
Oh yeah. What? Repeat that question. I'm sorry.
I was asking if there was a band that you shared stage with that they were also crazy like Ronnie and Nasty Savage together.
Yeah, probably that show that I mentioned, the World War III Fest. That was great. And then we did in 1985 we did a small tour with Hallows Eve, and we ended up doing a show with Slayer at L'Amour on the Hell Awaits tour. We did one show with them, and that was just very memorable for me, because it was so early on, and Slayer was really starting to get big. So yeah, there's just so many of them. Whiplash and Iced Earth we played with. Just so many. Just a lot of memorable moments.
And going back to the gigs that you did around the world, is there a special place for you?
Brazil, Santiago, Lima. I love South America. I truly love South America. And it's just some of the sickest fans that I've ever seen in my life, and Germany is way up there. Lots of Holland, a lot of people over there in the Netherlands, just big time fans, and there's in Texas and the United States. Another big spot for Nasty Savage. We've always gotten a lot of love from that state. So yeah, those are like some of the main ones. But we were very happy, that Andre got a hold of us and wanted to do another some more shows. And of course, unfortunately, got canceled last year because of the pandemic. So hopefully this will all work out, and and we can do these shows. I'm looking forward to playing with Venom Inc. And they should be good shows.
I was never fortunate to see you play live, but I have the question: have you ever played in Portugal?
Never. No, we never have played in Portugal. Love to, but it just never happened. On the '88 tour with Exumer and Adam Kraft, we played probably 9-10 different countries, but we haven't been to Portugal. That's one place I'd like to go to. I'd love to go to Greece. I'd love to go to Italy. We've never been to Italy before, so there's several places that we still want to go. It's just, we'll see what happens around the world, with what we have going on. And, maybe once, if we can, get the new stuff released, and, maybe we can get out there with some festivals and play some, we can only do so many shows a year, just because of family and work and things like that. So, we can probably do 15 shows a year out of the country, and hopefully, that'll, we can, rebound from all of this and get all that back, in the flow again.
That would be great, and Portugal would be a great place for you to play. We have a question from Paulo Lisboa at Hunter DC. Is asking what are your many influences for you to write these unique and powerful songs in the first Nasty Savage album? What did you use to listen at that time?
Okay, yeah. Before the first Nasty Savage album, I've always been as far as a guitar player, always been a huge fan of Uli John Roth, Richie Blackmore, Michael Schenker. Those are probably three of my biggest heroes as far as just shredding guitar player. Ace Frehley from Kiss. If it wasn't for Ace Frehley from Kiss, I would have never got into a band. That was the biggest influence that I ever had as a kid, wanting to be a musician, wanting to be in a band, and want to do this for a living. And of course, Edward Van Halen, Tony Iommi. It's hard to name so many, but Michael Schenker, Uli Roth, Richie Blackmore, my top three right there for sure.
But I understand all those influences, but you gave a bigger step being more aggressive, being
as far as like
more progressive.
being more aggressive and more of a technical sound. Watchtower from Texas, incredible. I mean, those guys right there really taught me how to think out of the box and really come up with some. Just they just opened my mind. When I listened to them, I couldn't play like them because they were just, but they really taught me how to just to kind of stray away from the norm and really try to create some. I think I created my own style, with Nasty Savage, but that was another heavy influence, Watchtower.
They still deliver, and
oh yeah,
I used to say that they are math metal. because those riffs,
math metal, yeah.
And I have to ask you one thing. We talked about some influences in metal, but outside metal, what influences do you have? Because I feel that
I'm a big fan of jazz fusion.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of Pat Metheny, Al Di Meola, Alan Holdsworth. All that kind of stuff. It just really gets my mind thinking and gets my wheels turning. It helps me create. I love that stuff. It's not something that I listen to all the time. I listen to anything from Al Di Meola, Alan Holdsworth, Cannibal Corpse, Obituary. I have a wide range of styles that I like to listen to. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I love a lot of blues and stuff like that. And Robin Trower. So I like it all. Opeth has some really good stuff that I like to listen to. But it's hard to name them all. That's about where I'm at though. I listen to a lot of jazz fusion.
I felt that. I felt the need to ask you that. All those bands, all those different styles, you listen to them randomly, or depends on the mood?
Depends on the mood. It really just depends on what mood I'm in. I would say more than anything, probably classic UFO. I can listen to that every day of my life. Obsession was my favorite UFO album of all time. Probably my top 5 hard rock album ever created. I love that album. So lots of Rush I like to listen to. It depends on the mood, like anybody.
Back in '83, what were you doing when you started the band? Were you going to gigs, to some venues, to see some bands? What really took you to give that step?
Well, I would say, there's a couple of songs. I was in a band before Nasty Savage called Gangster, just a local band, and I actually already had The Morgue and Unchained Angel already written before I joined Nasty Savage in '83. So me and Curtis Beeson joined Nasty Savage at the same time. It was kind of it all happened real quick. Now they were in Nasty Savage before with Craig Huffman, longtime friend of mine, may he rest in peace, and they were a 4-piece, and just he was kind of slacking a little bit, so they got Curtis and they got me. They wanted to add another guitar player. We kind of took it from there, and then Ronnie is really, honestly, is the one that took the marketing part of it to a next level, because he was the one that was tape trading. He was creating, he's the one that created the Nasty Savage Wage of Mayhem fanzine, and he had all these contacts all over the world that that really took everything. It made the energy level go up. We were getting so much fan mail every day. We were writing letters back and forth all day long, and once that demo, I think we sold like 7,000 or 8,000 copies of that demo tape. And that's when, Brian Slagle from Metal Blade said, he wanted to sign us. So that's when we started working on the first album, and we kind of just evolved, from a very young band. And, I love the first album. It's got its place in time. It's not my favorite, but it's a lot like Terry Butler and all them guys in Obituary. They worship that first album. That's like their metal Bible for those guys. For me, probably Indulgence is probably my favorite out of all of them. I just think we went another step, got a little bit heavier and a little bit more technical. So that one's my favorite, but everybody's got their their personal favorites, So, and that's just really, as far as like Ronnie's marketing skill and just the show that he put on, just kind of energized everybody, and that's when we kind of went forward and kind of took it to another level, I thought.
Now that you mentioned that part, the marketing part of Ronnie, there's one guy that I really admire is Caton DePena from Iraq.
Say that one more time? Sorry.
Caton DePena from Iraq.
Oh, yeah. I love
great PR.
Oh, yeah.
And I would like to ask you if you think that is also the big column that holds the band, in that case Iraq. If Ronnie with those skills is the backbone from Nasty Savage.
It's me and Ronnie work together. He knows that I have to write this music. Or if I don't write this music, it's not going to sound like Nasty Savage. So me and him need each other. This band would not go on without Nasty Ronnie, and I probably don't think it would go on if I left the band either. Just because of the fact that I can write these songs like Abstract Reality and Aromantic Vertigo, and a lot of these tunes that are just trademarks of Nasty Savage. You bring another guitar player in, it's just not going to work. So we have a great relationship, and we're a team. I love Ronnie. So we've known each other for since 1982. That's a long time. It's 38 years. So we're all happy right now. Unfortunately, Ben didn't want to play in the band anymore. He wanted to do his own thing. That's fine. Same with Curtis. That's what happens in these situations in these bands. Right now, I would say we get along better than we ever have in the history of this band, as far as like how we laugh and have a good time at rehearsal, and everybody's in a good mood. Nobody's yelling at each other. We're having fun. It's like a small little family. So it's everything's good.
And all those guys are younger than you and Ronnie, right?
Yeah. They're probably, I don't even know their ages. I would say late 40s. So me and Ronnie got probably 10 years older than them. Yeah. Yeah, they were all little kids when they went to see Nasty Savage back in the day.
Yeah.
So,
but that means
yes. Hey, I'm still hanging in there. I'm all right.
Of course. And as you said, you and Ronnie, you guys are, the brain.
Yeah.
And all those that join the band, they have to follow. And I totally agree with that. Jorge, uma pergunta, tinhas tu? Tens que ligar o microfone.
As lembranças do show do Brasil há 32 anos atrás. Por favor.
Oh. So Jay is asking about your memories about the gig you did in Brazil 32 years ago.
Oh, man. That was great. I remember the very first experience that I remember the most is when we did the in-store and we did the signing. We were signing the in-store appearance that we did. And right when we walk in the record store, you see nothing Bud Indulgence records everywhere at Abstract Reality, and I was just like, man, this was it was so great, and just I just have such a good memory. Everybody was just so nice. They had the billboard up there with their name on it and everything. I'm like, wow, this is just amazing. It almost reminded me of the shows that we did in Poland, in '88. It was cool. I remember was it Dorsal Atlantica? That's who played with us, right? And I remember seeing, I think Sepultura, those guys were young and they were backstage. I think they were just getting started, right? Am I right?
I wasn't in Brazil, so I can't reply. But
But yeah, great memory, from the first time we went down there. That's why we're ready to come back.
Jorge.
Eu não escutei, Miguel. Traduz para nós.
Dizer uma pergunta.
Não, a pergunta eu já fiz em relação ao show.
Ok. Lembra-se.
Foi na audição aqui, provavelmente.
Eu não sei onde foi esse show, mas lembra-se da loja, não sei qual é a loja, a Woodstock, carregadinha de discos do Abstract Reality.
Okay, you'll have to repeat that because I could hear both of y'all talking at the same time.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's okay.
We can't go inside the internet and kick their asses. Ivan, tu como guitarrista, atira a tua pergunta. Tens que ligar o microfone.
Qual é o modelo do Laney que está usando ali atrás? Um amplificador.
Now we go to hardware. Ivan is a guitar player and is asking about what hardware do you have of Laney behind you.
Oh, that's my amps at the rehearsal space. This is actually Bill Owen from Purgatory. This is his rig right here. So I don't know. I'm not sure what he's got. This is my guitar and this is my guitar. But that's not my rig. My rig's at the rehearsal place. I'm using a Marshall. I'm using a Marshall DS, just with a slant cabinet with Celestians. Nothing, no big deal. For me, thrash metal is keep it simple because it's just thrash metal. You know what I mean?
In your case, it's not
a massive rig or anything and a bunch of equipment. It's thrash metal. So.
Hey, with Nasty Savage, you can't say that it's simple.
Just ask Trevor from Obituary. Same rat pedal that he's been using since 1986. And has that same sound.
Yes.
So.
But your favorite guitar?
My favorite guitar is this one. Which this one is a Players Series Mexican Stratocaster, but I upgraded it. I put a Seymour Duncan nozzle back here, a Yngwie Malmsteen Seymour Duncan in the front. This is a hip shot bridge because I got tired of using a Floyd Rose. I just don't like them anymore. There's too much going on with them. Now if you're somebody like Gary Holt and you're on tour and you have guitar techs taking care of all of your stuff, then that's different. Somebody like me, this is simple. It stays in perfect tune, and this thing right here is a beast right here. It's my favorite guitar I've ever had. So yeah, that one worked out good.
Yes. What your tune you play? D?
Yeah, standard D.
D? Standard D?
Yes.
Okay.
We used to play a half step down, and when we recorded Psycho, we tuned down to standard D, which I actually asked the band to tune down to standard D before we ever recorded the first album, and they told me that I was stupid. After that, everybody what he was doing.
Good.
Let's go to your albums. All those covers are so different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where comes the the ideas for doing those artworks?
That was well, the first album, of course, just says Nasty Savage. Actually the same artist that did that. It's the same guy, I think, that did the Hallows Eve first album, record. Now the next three after that, there's a artist and a sculptor that lives in Tampa, and his name is Vandekar. So Ronnie, somebody had introduced Ronnie with him. This guy lived in a huge property, and he had caves with artwork all over the place, and it was just interesting. And we thought, maybe how about if we do something different instead of somebody getting their head chopped off or something like that, which that's fine. But, we just wanted to do something different than everybody else. And, I thought it was kind of cool. We all did. So, and then, that's it, really. We like the idea of, just being completely different. And, I think it shows between the artwork and, our music. I don't think we sound like anybody else. I think we've always had our own, own original style. And then we're going to continue with that.
It's funny you mentioned that because in fact, Nasty Savage is a unique band. And you see in thrash metal, bands that look at others and maybe sound a little bit like others as well. But I really don't remember a band that tries to follow the Nasty Savage way. Why do you think that happens?
That's a hard question. I don't know if I have an answer for that. It's.
You are highly respected around the world.
Well, I appreciate that. There are some bands now. If you listen to, the name of the album escapes me. It's one of Atheist's first albums. The technicality of it. Now, I know Kelly for a long time, and he said Penetration Point just completely influenced him. For that, the technicality of of some of the early atheist stuff and beyond. So, but
questionable presence.
Oh yeah. That's a great album. But you can, if you listen to some of that album, there's things on Penetration Point where you could tell that we influenced them on that. It's just, I don't want to be that guy that say, oh we influence them. It's just whatever. You can catch some vibes from certain bands that have you ever heard of Sacral Rage?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear a Savage influence, in some of their stuff. If you really, if you listen to the full record, I can hear some of that, but I don't know. I think we really have such a unique style. I think it's hard to duplicate. I just do. I'm proud of it. Hang on one second. Okay. Had to get a beer.
Sure. Cheers.
Cheers, brothers.
While being inside the studio, what are the things that you say it must be like this, and we have to follow this way? Because sometimes we oh no, with this time we have to do this or that, and you guys say no, we have to do this.
Yeah, like as you know, back in the, all those first 4 albums, of course, everything was analog. So if Curtis screwed up, then you had to start the whole song over again. There wasn't, we can move this section here and do this, and and all of a sudden you got a song. So it was, you had to play it, but we did it pretty much just like anybody else would. Richard, or Fred Dregeshin or Dezo, who played on those, and Chris Morehouse, who played on. We had 4 different bass players on those first 4 albums. So it was like I would get in there with the bass player, and Curtis would lay down his drum track. Once he got his drum track down, then we'd follow it up with a bass, then rhythm guitars, solos, and then Ronnie would do his thing at the end. That was basically the format on everything that we've ever recorded. Has always been like that.
Okay. Again, with Brazil, to check if they have any questions. I have one other question, but I will let George ask his question.
O melhor álbum do Mestre Savage para ele.
Eu penso que ele já disse. George is asking about your favorite Mestre Savage album.
Favorite one? I honestly, I do like them all. I don't really have a lead. Probably Indulgence. Probably that one. I think we were, right there on, all cylinders. I think that's probably my favorite one. But, then you're going to have somebody else that likes Penetration Point or the first album or whatever. But I like Indulgence. I thought it was very consistent from one end to the other. A lot of great songs on there. The song Indulgence, Triple X, Stabbed in the Back, Inferno. What's the name of that one song? I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but yeah, a lot of good songs on that one. So yeah, I think Ronnie sounded really good on there with Divination. Divination just had a heaviness to it, and just the high notes were just dead on. I just like that that album a lot.
Okay, we have another question from Paul Lisboa.
Okay.
He's asking you what are the best memories of that big show in Poland in '88. He says it's a fucking huge background on the wall with Mestre Savage logo. He's saying that it was a great show.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't even know that logo, that backdrop was even going to be there. So we walked into when we got there, we walked into the arena when they were still setting everything up, and we saw that logo and went, whoa, we couldn't believe it, and we wanted to take it back to America, but it was so big we couldn't even take it on the bus. That's how big it was. So I don't know who has that, but they made it for us in Poland for that show. They made that. I was like, I was overwhelmed. I couldn't believe it, just that and just that crowd. And, the other 2 shows that we did were great as well. Not just the Katowice with the big logo, but, 2 other shows. One, I think there was 5,000 people there, and another show there was like 3,000 or 4,000 people. So, yeah, that was good, we had a good time on that tour, with Exumer and Adam Kraft, and that was fun for me. That was fun for everybody, I'm at the time I'm probably just turning 26, and I've already seen 14, 15 different countries, and it was just an experience, and it was just all the shows in Germany and Holland and England. It was just one kick-ass night after another. It was really good. Really good.
I can tell you that Europe wants you here.
I know. We want to go. Trust me. We had the shows booked in the Netherlands and Belgium, and we had a club show in Germany, and and that was 3 that we were going to go over there and do and possibly add some, and then they all got canceled. So
Okay, we were talking about thrash metal in these days. You said that you like to see young people play, and for those who are starting, being David Austin, What's your best advice to those, newcomers that are trying to join a band and do something?
Well, I mean, especially for, somebody that's 18, 19 years old, I mean, you either want to do that or you don't. So, if you want to do it, pour your heart and soul into it, and give it 100%, and make every note that you hit the best note that you've ever hit in your life when you're writing a song. And there's a couple of things in the past, mistakes that I've made in the past, where, especially on Psycho, a couple of tunes I wrote, I may have rushed a couple of things to get the song done, because we actually, not to steer away from what the question, but when we were doing Psycho, we literally wrote that album in about 7 or 8 days and recorded it in 3 days. So, just like that, boom, we had an album out, because, we got paid for it, so it was just one of those. I was actually in another state than the rest of the band. So at the time where I couldn't record and send files to those guys, I would have had to burn my parts on a CD, mail them to Ben. He would learn the song, and then he would mail me CDs in the mail, and I would learn his songs, and we all got together and jammed and learned them, But back to your question, for the 17 and the 18-year-olds, just put your heart and soul into it, because if you go 50%, you might as well just forget it, because there's a million bands out there. It's not like it was in 1983. Now there's a band on every street corner, and they all have a studio in their house because they all have a computer, and they're all on iTunes and all that kind of stuff. It's just not the same anymore. But it's not as they'll figure out ways to do it and probably sell more units and things like that. And plus, these days, if you're not out there playing shows and selling merchandise, you're not making any money. So, I mean, you're not going to make money off units sold anymore. I know that for a fact, because Spotify, I have one song on there, No Sympathy, that has 110,000 downloads on it, and I made 13 cents off of that song. So there you go. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a very tough business to get into, these days, and you better be the band that stands out over the other band, because if you're one of those bands that's just standing there doing nothing, forget about it. Not going to work.
Yeah, you mentioned that you still have the feeling to go on stage and release the beast inside of you.
I do as much as I can at 58 years old. I don't want to be in a stretcher the next day. Say now, Ronnie, on the other hand, who is 59, he basically.
Estamos aqui com um problema de conexão, creio. Estão-me a ouvir aí no Brasil?
Congelou.
Agora tá bom, agora não tem delay.
E não temos o delay.
E para o
aquilo que eu estava a dizer. Parou porque ele está com o telemóvel muito alto. Yeah, we had. You were saying that Ronnie, with his 59 still, and you froze. Can you hear us?
Yeah, eu
Congelou
sei.
de novo.
Congelou de novo. Não congelou, é só o som.
David, are you still listening? Yeah.
Yeah. I turned my. Hang on. I think my phone was trying to connect to a Wi-Fi connection. I think we're good now. Sorry about that.
Yeah. You were saying that Ronnie, with his 59, is still.
Yeah. So he still sacrifices his body. I don't know how he does it still. I can get up there. I can get up there and move around, get people into it, stuff like that. But I know my limits. I can't. It's not like if it was something that I was doing 150 or 100 shows a year, I could get more. My body could get more acclimated to that. But only do, 10, 12 shows a year, 15 maybe. So I know my limits.
But you look great for your age, man. Look at George.
Oh,
He's almost 60.
Thank you.
So, hey, we would like to thank you for this interview. I really hope that we can see you live first, and also that your EP, the recording of the EP, runs like perfection. I know it will. But I'm curious to listen to something because you mentioned all of these albums that will be together in one new recording from you guys.
Yeah,
I'm very curious.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. You're gonna like it. Just trust me on that one. Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got all the benchmarks of Nasty Savage. It's got all the harmonies. It's got all the timing changes. It's got the it's got the double bass. It's got it's anything what you would envision of Nasty Savage between those three albums right there, and you're going to be happy.
On behalf of the Portuguese fans, thank you so much, David.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. I appreciate you guys doing this with me. I really do. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Pessoal, é o seguinte, a gente deixou para a próxima terça o sorteio. Então presta atenção. Próxima terça, uma conversa com o Eric Wagner, The Skull Trouble, e o sorteio do ingresso, tá? Então fiquem ligados, né? Eu acho que nessa pandemia ninguém tá levando fé no show, né? O Ivan e Miguel, né? Então, a gente vai dar uma estimulada mais uma semana aí e vamos sortear esse ingresso para o Mosh Metal Fest, né? Que vai, tomara que aconteça, né? Dia 28 de maio de 2021 em São Paulo, com Venom Inc., Nasty Savage, Agonist. Beleza, pessoal? Obrigado.
Muito
Miguel,
bem.
obrigado.
Valeu, obrigado.
Grande abraço a todos.
Aí, o som é devido
o som
à conexão,
hoje foi ruim.
Hein?
A gente vai ter que... a gente teve um
não
probleminha
tens
técnico
alternativa.
aí. Então,
É quando a conexão do outro lado está com o som muito alto, faz isto. Nós temos que ter alguma atenção ao som, porque se ele tivesse headphones isso não acontecia.
Perfeito, pessoal.
Mas temos que ultrapassar, não é? E tentar concentrar no máximo. Muito obrigado por esta
terça-feira,
live.
dia 24, Eric Wagner, do Trouble aí, grande nome do Doom aí, né? The Skull Trouble. Miguel, obrigado. Ivan.
Valeu, obrigado.
Cuidem-se. Obrigado para quem nos assistiu. Valeu.
See you.